Thank you so much for joining me today, Ian. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Doing all right. So you just finished up your first weekend of performances with the Spongebob Musical. How did it go?
It was a blast. I gotta say, to put it in the shortest words possible that Patrick would probably use himself, it was it was fun.
I mean, that's the easiest way to do it. And you're still in a costume for. Is this your Patrick costume?
This is yeah. So this is my Hawaiian shirt I wear over the pink. I have a pink
Yeah,
T-shirt, and then yeah, I still have my hair done, my makeup. It's
it's perfect. It's perfect.
thank you,
Um,
thank you.
so before being cast in the show, how familiar were you with SpongeBob?
This like the TV show or the musical?
Both.
Both. Well, the TV show was a huge part of my childhood.
Sure.
Obviously, growing up as a youngster, I loved SpongeBob. Who didn't? But I mean, even like throughout high school, me and my friends would quote SpongeBob to each other. That was how we communicated, was through SpongeBob
Sure.
quotes. And like everyone does, like, everybody knows like the 24, 25, like the stuff like that. But I mean, we had
Yeah.
some deep cut quotes.
You were like you had all of it memorized.
Oh yeah, I had a friend in middle school. Him and I memorized the first movie, and we would when
Okay.
we'd hang out, we would just watch it and just say it to each other while we watched it.
I mean, what
So
a way to bond, though. SpongeBob really brought your friend group together.
100%.
And so,
Um,
did you know the musical?
oh, I knew it very well.
Okay.
When the show dropped, they did their out of town tryout in Chicago in 2016.
Okay.
Um, when I heard about that, I was hooked. I was like, I had no idea they were even developing a SpongeBob musical, and then when they opened in Chicago, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And so I followed the show since then. They went to Broadway. I had tickets my senior year of high school. They were going on tour.
Okay.
And I had tickets for the shows in Detroit, but unfortunately, a really bad snowstorm took it out,
Oh,
and so they canceled
no.
the performances. But but yeah, I love the show. Then like they dropped the pro shot of it that they filmed in London with the
Sure.
most of the original cast. So like, oh, I'm hooked, and I loved the show so much.
So, this was like a no brainer for you to audition for.
100%. It was a bucket list show, and Patrick was like within my top 5 of dream roles to play. So having that chance to even play Patrick in it is like, I mean, I'm gonna remember this for a while.
So, what is kind of the story of the show? And then, how does Patrick factor into it?
Oh, so to put it, long story short, there so it's Bikini Bottom, obviously, is where it takes place, and there is a volcano called Mount Humongous, and Mount Humongous is about to erupt, and so the Bikini Bottom's townspeople have to try to figure out what they're going to do about this. And ultimately, they decide to try. They listen to Plankton. He comes up with a plan, and they follow his plan to leave Bikini Bottom. But SpongeBob wants to stay, and so SpongeBob, Patrick, and Sandy kind of work together to try and stop this volcano.
That's
Now,
awesome.
Patrick's on board right away. I mean, obviously, like his best bud SpongeBob. Why wouldn't he be?
Sure.
But throughout the show, there's this group of sardines, and Patrick has some. He's got some great lines in the show that make no sense, and the sardines take that as words of wisdom, and they form almost like a cult around Patrick.
Sure.
And so Patrick goes off, and I mean, like he's loving this lifestyle, so he goes off for a little bit. Um, but not to spoil anything, but he ends up reconnecting with his pal SpongeBob and Sandy, and the rest of the show they save the town
So, he has his own story, like completely separate.
completely. And it's so I remember when I was first listening to the show, I didn't understand where the songs that he has with these sardines fit in. But then watching the show for the first time, I was like just kind of mind blown that they took this path. But it's so SpongeBob for something
Sure.
so outrageous to happen. Like it's so funny too. It keeps it light.
What's one of those songs that like you just love performing? Because it sounds like there's some great ones for Patrick.
Super Sea Star Savior.
Okay.
It's a big number with Patrick and the Sardines. and this is the number where they take him essentially from SpongeBob. Um, and it happens right after they convince Sandy that she's smart enough to do this with them, and they need her brains, and they immediately lose Patrick's bronze. And the song was written by Yolanda Adams, so it's a
Wow.
gospel number. And I mean, it's just a lot of fun. Our sardines are
Sure.
played by a bunch of youngsters, and so they're having fun. I'm dancing around with them. They're running through the audience. I get this. I make a reference to the movie where so there's a part in the choreography where there's supposed to be a tambourine kind of solo for Patrick,
Okay.
but I'm doing kind of like the ham boning kind of slapping thing.
Okay.
And so, I mean, it's a very energetic number. I mean, the audience, I the last couple shows, I mean, they're clapping along. I can see them all smiling, and it's a good like just pick me up for the audience.
How do you feel like the music kind of enhances the story of SpongeBob and his friends? Like, because there's like an eclectic taste of music here.
Yes. So well, and the thing I like about what they did with the music with it, so it's written by different artists.
Mhm.
Every song is written by a different artist, unless it's like a reprise or something. And to me, I think that's the best way you could have done the music for SpongeBob,
Sure.
because like when it comes to the show, I mean, they had like a couple hour-long specials where there were so many cameos by like different celebrities and stuff. I know the one that sticks out to me mostly, just because she wrote a song for the episode, was Pink, was in an episode of SpongeBob. And then like
Yes.
you hear so much about like David Bowie. He had voiced a character in Atlanta Square Pantis. He also wrote a song that's in the show.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I think that it enhances the show and kind of the story in the way it's the most SpongeBob way possible they could have done it.
Sure, absolutely. I
So
mean,
and then
SpongeBob has some absolute bangers in the show of
oh
music.
yeah,
Like,
one the big one that sticks out is Best Day Ever, and that song is in the show.
oh, that's beautiful. That
So
is a great one.
yeah.
Is is that the closing number?
It is the finale. Yeah,
Yeah. As I say, you have to almost have that be the finale.
exactly. It's too perfect.
So, how do you feel like this role has challenged you as an actor?
Um, I got to be honest, it's my typecast. Big goofy guy is my typecast. Big loud goofy guy, and that is what Patrick is. Um, one small challenge that I've not faced but have been mindful of is not overdoing it though, because like Patrick's big loud goofy, but he's a little. I don't want to say stupid, but he's he's a
He's a
little
ham.
dumb.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so it's not someone going out of their way to be funny. This is funny because he said something that has nothing to do with what's going on, and he doesn't even know what's happening. And so it's just trying to keep that. I can't even think the word. I want to say nuance almost of just like who Patrick is, and not going off and making it me. Obviously, I'm bringing some little things to the role that are gonna make it. This is how Ian played Patrick,
Sure.
but I'm still trying to stay true to the character itself.
Absolutely, which is important, to have your little bit spin on it. But like, this is such an like identifiable character. I mean, SpongeBob, Patrick, and Sandy are like they carry the show for 2 or 3 decades now.
Yeah, it's and I find that fun to. I mean, because I love this show, the like TV show so much. Like I'm playing Patrick Star. Like to me, like if you would have told like 12-year-old Ian or even like 7-year-old Ian, like you're gonna grow up and play Patrick Star, I wouldn't. I'd think you're crazy.
Sure, because who would have believed that?
Exactly.
So what has been a highlight of your time on this production?
Meeting the new people. Honestly, this is a new group. I do a lot of stuff in like my hometown local area. And this new group is just outside of it. I've
Okay.
never done a show here. I've never seen a show here, and just about everybody except for two or three people I've never met before. Um, I've worked with the SpongeBob before, Adam. Him and I did Grease together a few years ago. So this is
Awesome.
a fun way to reconnect with one another.
What a
But
project to connect back on.
I know it's so fun. But yeah, meeting all the new people has been a delight. They're all fantastic in their own ways. They're all so talented, but they're also nice, genuine
Hmm.
people.
As I say,
So
you're the fifth one I got to talk to, and you're all just so like happy to be doing this. Like you're like truly enjoying this time together.
yeah, it's fun. I'm gonna be so upset when it's over. Usually, I'm like, well, it's on to the next one. But this one is gonna hold a special place in my heart.
Is there anything special you have to do to get into the mindset of Patrick?
I just kind of push everything out. Honestly, I
Sure.
mean,
Okay.
there's really not a lot going on up there for Patrick. So I
Uh,
mean,
True.
it's in the words of Patrick himself. I mean, his mindset is the inner machinations of his mind are an enigma. He doesn't even know. Like
That's what makes him so special.
exactly, exactly. And so yeah, I just kind of I mellow out a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, I try not to drink too much caffeine before the show because he's there. He lives under a rock, but he is a rock. I mean, he
Sure.
doesn't move too much.
And he really does, at least I've never seen the musical, so I'm excited I'm going to see it next weekend.
Oh,
Um,
perfect.
but in the show, he does ground SpongeBob and Sandy and Squidward quite a lot. And he's so stoic, even though he's just kind of not always there.
Yeah, yeah. He's it's yeah. I mean, I couldn't have put it in better words.
So what was it like for you to try on that costume for the first time? Did you
Magic.
feel magic?
It was magic. I was already, getting in the mindset of everything for Patrick, but once I mean, I will say this: my normal summer attire is a Hawaiian shirt over a t-shirt with shorts.
Sure.
So I was like, when they told me that's what it was gonna be, I was like, oh, that's perfect. I'm used to that. But it being that pink and green color scheme, seeing myself in the costume, I was like, no, I am Patrick Star. Like it's just
Sure.
almost I see myself and I'm like, this is like there it is.
100%. Like when I asked you earlier about your costume, I was like, well, that Hawaiian shirt, I know that shirt, like that's Patrick's colors right there, uh, so what themes of the SpongeBob musical resonate the most with you?
For the friendship aspect.
Okay.
It's a big thing with SpongeBob and Patrick, obviously. They've got a song written by the Plain White Tees called BFF, and I mean it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a song about them being best friends, but it's also the I guess the friendship relationships of the show. I mean between like you've got Pearl and Mr. Krabs.
Hmm.
And then of course like you SpongeBob Patrick, you have SpongeBob Sandy.
Hmm.
Um and just watching with all the turmoil that occurs throughout the show, towards the end seeing how everybody can come together with one
Sure.
another through it.
Sure.
But the reason that resonates with me so much is friendships are a huge key part of my life. And I cherish all of my friendships with everybody. They're all so important to me. And so having these characters do the same thing, it's I love it.
I mean, friendship is so important. That found family,
Exactly.
that carries us through life.
100%.
One final question for you is just, what do you hope audiences walk away with this musical from?
Having fun. I hope
Okay.
they walk away and they think to themselves, this was the best 2.5 hours of fun that I've ever had. Because there's a good story to it, but at the end of the day, that's all SpongeBob is meant to be, is just
Hmm.
fun. And there's certainly the fun of it outweighs the dramatic storyline of it, I will say.
Okay.
Um but yeah, I want them to walk away just thinking that was the most fun that I've had. Even watching a show, I want audience members to even during the show get up and dance with us. There's so many moments where they could, and that's the goal.
That shared enjoyment for everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for your time, Ian. It has been a pleasure talking
yeah.
with you.
Of
Uh,
course, thank you, Brian. I appreciate this opportunity.
the SpongeBob musical runs for one more weekend, closing on March 16th at the Bloomfield Players Community Theater. So get your tickets now, and we'll see you there.
Yes.